Ms. Carter, is it true that HBO bought the rights to Sesame Street?
No, it did not. It developed, Sesame Street entered an arrangement with HBO for a number of years.
And it
which
was
is
a
now,
paid arrangement, correct?
Yes, which allowed us to get the series for free during the period of that time.
How much money was transacted during that?
I don't know. Sesame Street is a private organization. It is separate from ours.
Okay. Ms. Meyer, what about Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA as propaganda?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you repeat the question?
What about Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA is propaganda?
I don't believe that is propaganda, sir.
Okay, well, in January, North County Public Radio, and that's a subsidiary of NPR, had Daphne Brooks, who apparently is a black feminism scholar, on its show where it was hosted by the host Brittany Lewis, and it says, have you ever watched something on TV and thought, okay, now this is propaganda? Have you ever had that moment? To which Daphne Brooks replied, whenever I see Lee Greenwood singing Proud to be an American.
I believe that represents the individual we interviewed on air, not the position.
And
of
yet you
NPR.
say there's no bias on NPR.
That is not a
And
position
that
of
is not a
NPR.
biased statement, ma'am. That is not even both parties wrap themselves around this song. Every time there's a national conflict, Lee Greenwood sings it, and he does a beautiful job. But you say there is no bias in NPR.
That is that individual's opinion, and she, of course, is entitled to it, but that is not the position of NPR.
Ma'am, you said in your opening statement that you were going to be transformative, and I believe you failed to do that. Let me ask you, why did you call President Trump a fascist and a deranged racist sociopath in 2020?
Congressman, I appreciate the opportunity to address this. I regret those tweets. I would not tweet them again today. They represented a time where I was reflecting on something that I believe that the president had said rather than who he is. I don't presume that anyone is a racist.
You don't believe anyone is a racist?
I don't start by presuming anyone is a racist, sir.
Okay. Has NPR or PBS ever conducted an internal review to assess whether conservative or right-leaning perspectives are fairly representative news and programming?
Congressman, what we look at is the distribution of people who listen to our work, and we can tell you, and I'm proud to tell you, that for our digital, our podcasts and our website, the distribution of Americans who come to NPR does reflect the political distribution of the nation. In fact, the distribution on our websites, 33% of folks who come are conservative versus 28% who are liberal, and the rest identify as independent. So the largest group is conservatives who come to NPR's websites.
So you believe that most Americans think President Trump is a fascist and a deranged racist sociopath?
I don't believe that at all, sir.
Okay. Ma'am?
We obviously are constantly looking at the voices that we bring forward. We take to heart our commitment to bringing forward perspectives from across the country. Our programming comes from our local stations. And I mentioned in my opening comment the series that we did out of Arkansas, Southern Storytellers. That's just one little example. 10% of our schedule is news. The rest of it is either children's programming or programming based on history to give us all a collective expression. And we're constantly looking to making sure that we're bringing forward a diversity of viewpoints and perspectives and experiences that really do make up the fabric of this country.
Okay. NPR senior editor Leonard, it's been mentioned before, but he was quoted as saying an open-minded spirit no longer exists within NPR, and now, predictably, we don't have an audience that reflects America. Yet you stated that the audience does reflect America. He was suspended without pay for 5 days for saying this, and of course he eventually resigned in April 2024. You've also stated that federal funding is essential for NPR to operate, but also claim only 1% of your funding comes from the federal government. Which is it?
Mr. Berliner was suspended for the outside work policy, not for what he said, sir. In terms of federal funding, the federal funds go to support our operation of the public radio satellite system, which enables all of our local stations to be able to communicate information and broadcast, including...
As stated earlier, ma'am, funding is very fungible. It flows wherever it needs to. I don't buy that argument.
We do have
I
a
wonder
separate
if any of the
balance sheet for
members
that,
of the
sir.
committee would comment real quickly. Would you agree that Real America's Voice, Newsmax, Fox, or News Nation, if they were to see federal funds, would you all support that? Yes or no? Mr. Ullman? Yes or no?
I'd have to get back to you on that.
Ma'am?
I actually don't have an opinion about that.
Ma'am?
I don't have an opinion about that, sir. That would be Congress's decision.
Thank you, Chair Lady.